just in case. They don't know, of course, they don't know where seeding is going to come in at. We don't know who's going to win these play-ins, who's going to come in second. But you bet every team is going to be having their eyes glued on games like these because they are so pivotal in how just showing good information, how to showing how teams adapt.
And with all that, we are getting into our picks and bans now for game number 2. Certainly, Simon Fraser coming up quite short. Ottawa. Definitely the Ahri pick itself really defined the match for me, but besides Ahri, besides open backpack, Harry Sixpack had an absolutely pop-off game on the Trundle. I don't think he died a single time during the match, but facilitated every single gang, got 100% kill participation for the first 20 minutes of the match.
Yeah, Harry Sixpack, Open Backpack, and Psionics both went deathless in game number 1 over on the side of Ottawa. So Harry Sixpack, he was pivotal in setting up most of that mid lane power spike that Ottawa received. Especially with that mid lane focus, open backpack, he didn't quite pop off early like we thought. We think an Ahri should, or want an Ahri, that anybody would want an Ahri to pop off. But Harry Sixpack, he got killed.
The larger part of open backpack for me was a little bit disappointing to see him not really be able to influence any of the lanes. He just got himself ahead. And honestly, when your bottom lane dies to the same gank 3 times in a row, maybe a little bit past really bringing back, but they still played around the pick potential and the flank potential, especially when open backpack found the flank around the backside of that dragon fight about the 15-minute mark. That's what really started Ottawa on top of that match, kept them going on through. But while we've been talking, more bans are coming out. Swain's still not banned yet, and Ahri's still not banned yet, so Ahri will be making it through once more if open backpack wants to double down.
Yeah, it could prioritize that. Of course, prioritizing that first would give an easy counter pick over to SFU. They did ban away the Trundle, so Harry Sixpack is not going to be getting that one. That is going to be off the board for SFU, and they think maybe that might have been the big reason that they were able to be so dismantled early game, last game, as University of Ottawa. They lock in Olaf, something Frozen Knight played last game. Gonna see what SFU counter with here. With
the Morgana already off the board, it does take a lot away from the Caitlyn Morgana priority. Plus, with the Trundle ban, the last 2 top-tier junglers are the Olaf and the Skarner. Olaf counter Skarner, so by cross-elimination, you pick up the Olaf here first. So I think we're pretty happy with that one. Top lane certainly falling down in priority quite a bit, as it will be the Sejuani response.
Yeah, Sejuani, of course, big initiation coming out from the SFU side. Frozen Knight, gonna have that Glacial Prison throw from afar. Of course, also Boar Rush, being able to knock somebody up and stun them as well, even before level 6. So I'm gonna prioritize that jungle pick to try to get some ganks off a little bit more than he had as the Olaf last time. Maybe, actually, you know what, I say that, he actually did well last game under the bot side, but might be looking to focus on the mid lane this time around, as we have Rise picked up for Tickmith in the mid lane.
And Rise is someone who did get hit on the 8.8 patch, so a little bit more housekeeping for those of you guys just tuning into this set. Ottawa did walk away with game number 1, and 8.8 just dropped in the early hours of this morning. So unless there was some very early solo queue or scrims going on, neither of these teams have had time to prepare on this patch. And Rise did receive a fairly sizable nerf. His spell flux, so his E in the early game, now costs about 20 more mana at rank 1, and then scaling back down to being 100 mana at max rank, so at rank number 5. So definitely hurts his early game's pushing ability quite a bit while still being able to scale on up. So that's something we're going to have to keep our eyes on here. And does this invite the Ahri matchup? But no, Cassiopeia, the basically direct counter to Rise, is still on the board.
Yeah, Rise, of course, has a very limited mobility, landing those Qs by Cassiopeia very easy, and then sticking onto him with the Twin Fang. And of course, Twin Fang in Rune Prison and his Overload on Q, same length of ability distance, I believe, so you can still use those quite a bit and counter back if Rise catches out Cassiopeia. But Camille banned out last game, going to be picked up this time by Goldjet, so gonna have that aggressive top lane this time around as we see the Malphite banned out. SFU looking to dismantle the team comp that gave them the defeat last game.
Yeah, of course, and the largest thing with the Cassiopeia into the Rise matchup is that as Rise, all of your abilities make you turn to face the opponent you're hitting. So Cassiopeia with a very solid window to actually hit a Petrifying Gaze. And I mean, Open Backpack loved to duel in that early game, game number 1. He's now on Cassiopeia, probably one of the strongest level 2 duelists in the mid lane at the moment. So certainly going to be facilitating that back quite a bit more. No Trundle to hard start those ganks, so does still need to be quite cautious here.
I recommend skipping.
Trundle banned away. Lulu, the last ban by SFU, as Ashe is also banned away by University of Ottawa. So we're going to see a completely different team comp coming out from both of these teams, as most of the majority of Ottawa's team is banned out from last game. The only one not banned out is Ari, and we already have the mid lanes picked up. So going to be a completely different team comp coming out for University of Ottawa as we have the last ban waiting out for them. And that's going to be Ezreal banned away. Pneumatic. That's kind of a little bit curious, but they'd want to keep him on a little bit less of a mobile champion.
And with that, Rakan, Camille plus Sejuani definitely shows a very strong engage for Simon Fraser. And that might actually... Okay, no, that has to be just like a gimme pick as showing them exactly what they're missing. Because Kalen already picked up for Ottawa, so would not expect the double ADC comp coming out, especially as Cassiopeia has already been picked up. They still need a top laner. They still need a support to round out this composition. Most notably, Karma is still on the board if they want just that hard shoving lane, but do need to be careful into something like the Rakan. Braum is available, but wouldn't expect that one as much.
No, not. I wouldn't think so. He actually got hit with a little bit of a nerf as well. Not a huge nerf. Not as big as Janna, as if we're going to get Mimi here, but a little bit to his armor growth and his stand behind me stats. So might be seeing a Braum. Even though he did get nerfed, he's still going to be hovered over, but it's going to be locked in by... Alistar is going to be locked in, I should say. And I like the mind games coming out from Ottawa. They hovered over Xayah, showing that, we know what you're going to pick, and we're ready for it. And predictably, SFU, they picked the Xayah. Of course, Rakan, great bot lane synergy, but Ottawa, they may have that already figured out.
Game number 1, we are talking all about the bottom lane for Simon Fraser, just dumpstering on University of Ottawa. And maybe not just the bottom lane, but also Frozen Knight in particular. Literally made the same gank happen 3 times in a row. And now he's back on Sejuani instead of the Olaf, which is just more ganking pressure. Now combo that with the Xayah Rakan potential at the level 6 mark. And finally, Simon Fraser may really be focusing on this bottom side with the top lane split push, the Camille to draw pressure that way, and the Rise, who eventually will still be scaling up into the massive pushing lane threat he always becomes.
It is going to be interesting to see completely different styles coming out this time around from both teams. Camille on the top side with Goldjet on Camille at the top side. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, the banner command is a little bit more favorable if you're a Camille. Because you can actually kill the banner command minions now, as opposed to, like an Ornn or anybody who does AP damage on the top side, which a lot of the tanky jungle or tanky top laners do. Camille, not so much. You can actually take out those tanky banner command minions a lot easier, considering you do a lot of AD damage. So, going to be also working more likely on the split push, and then we do have Rise, Tickmith maybe taking advantage of the lack of roam that he had last game. He didn't roam too often, but with Realm Warp, you may think that he wants to roam a little bit more as this Rise.
Definitely more than the Anivia, who was getting camped hard in that middle lane. He should probably survive a little bit longer, especially now not against the hard CC in the jungle. But that being said, University of Ottawa still has a lot of options available to them. A very nice scaling curve with Caitlyn at the very beginning of the match, with Ornn in the top lane for a little bit of pushing power. You then have Olaf taking over the mid game, and Cassiopeia still being one of the highest DPS mid laners in the game towards the later stages of the match. University of Ottawa have a very solid team fighting core where if they can prevent the Xayah Rakan from getting that done early, or Camille from getting the split push into the later stages of the game, University of Ottawa are just looking to team fight this one out.
That's what they did last game. They relied heavily on their 5v5 synergy, and it worked so well for them. And that might be what they're looking at this time around too. And I want to point out, like you said, Cassiopeia, huge DPS, but so good into a Baron, into a Drake. You can lay out those twin fangs so quickly and take out objectives so quickly with Cassiopeia. It might be something they want to prioritize as well. If they can't find these team fights, so they at least have some sort of objective control, at least I guess quick objective control if you want to go that route. But we are getting into the spectator delay. 1 minute remaining almost. My name is Joshua Fekes. I'm here with Steven Return Johnson. I want to give a quick shout out to our plugs and, of course, our sponsors. First one, of course, being exclamation point Discord in the chat. Follow our Discord, be a part of the community, and have a voice, and, of course, just be part of the community in general, make some friends. And, of course, exclamation point Discord, casters in the chat as well. They follow our Twitter links. And you can also follow CSL at CStarLeague, at CStarLeague and at CSLLOL, and of course Facebook.com/CStarLeague. Kind of fumbling over these a little bit. I'll get it though. You can also go over to Twitch, give them a shout out because they've been here with us from the very beginning. cultivating the collegiate esports scene and the community. We wouldn't be here without them. So give Twitch some love as well at twitter.com/Twitch and facebook.com/Twitch. And one last shout out to our new sponsor, Juice Batteries. If you ever been playing a game with peripherals that are wireless and you use batteries and they die during your gaming session and then you die in your gaming session, you don't want that to happen. Get some Juice Batteries because they have 6 times the battery power of normal batteries. I think I put up 7 there. It's actually 6 times.
It's a lot of power.
It is a lot of power regardless of how many times it is. 6 times is an incredible amount, and they also charge twice as fast. So that is going to be a huge advantage to you if you use wireless peripherals and you don't want your battery to die. Get the Juice Batteries, keep that from happening, stay alive a little bit longer in the game. As we get into game number 2, best of 3, University of Ottawa versus Simon Fraser. Ottawa may be surprising a few, up 1 game over Simon Fraser, who you mentioned earlier, Steven, actually looked so dominant in the early season, and something has happened to where they just haven't been able to keep up pace in the meta.
Yeah, in the last game, you could definitely mark up to literally the first match possible to play on 8.8. Maybe the adaptations weren't quite there, and I have to say, a lot of that game for University of Ottawa was through the middle portion of that map, just completely camping out Tick. He was unable to do absolutely anything, and the bot lane just never meant anything because Ari just one-shots enemy your allied backline. Definitely want to see their adaptations going into game number 2 here because now the ball is in their court. The well-scaling teamfight competition is over for the side of University of Ottawa, so all they have to do to stay on top is just play conservatively, find the later game stages, whereas it's now the Xayah plus Rakan duo for Pneumatic and Jade Jail in the bottom lane, plus Goldjet in the top lane with the split pushing that need to find these advantages for Simon Fraser if they want to keep on going.
Yeah, Goldjet is the big thing for me. He's on the Camille. Camille obviously great at dueling, great at split pushing. Want to see how he's going to be able to use that to his advantage for Simon Fraser, because it's something that they may be relying on, seeing that maybe they don't want to team fight as much as Ottawa wants to team fight. And if SFU can just stall out, Goldjet can split push. We're going to see how that one turns out. I am anxious to see because we also have Tickmith on with his Realm Warp able to roam as well. So going to be a lot of factors coming into this mid game that SFU need to overcome, because this is it for them. If they don't win this one, they are out of the tournament, and it's going to be better luck next year for them. As Frozen Knight, he may be getting caught out here. He does have flash. There's not much to really back this one up, though. Undertow is going to hit him. He's going to slow him down.
Just picking up the axes.
Yeah, picking up the axes might actually get a kill here. Are they going to force a flash out of Frozen Knight? I'm sorry. Harry Sixpack, though, needs to be careful. He's getting answered back. First blood still over open backpack on the mid lane. Cassiopeia, Goldjet, though, returns it. Harry Sixpack is probably the most action-intense first minute you were going to see this entire game. Very much of a crescendo here as both junglers go down. But the mid lane, Cassiopeia, gets the first blood.
And that's actually great to see Cassiopeia find that early advantage, but certainly University of Ottawa, they do find that early kill, but they do give something back for it. That is also Sixpack dying as a result, going back and forth, and now these are going to be incredibly delayed early clears coming out from the junglers, especially with absolutely no lane support as Goldjet, Pneumatic, Yokin, Psychotic all have to go to their lanes, and that's really going to hurt Frozen Knight, who on Sejuani has a pretty weak first clear. It's going to have to actually start off the chickens, the Raptor camps rather, just to get the first clear started.
And not going to go for the buffs, like you said, wants to opt for those Raptors. And now going to go over to the red buff. Going to be slow as she does it, as we see Harry Sixpack. Of course, Olaf, a little bit better of a jungler as far as the first clear going. Can easily spam out those undertows if you have the blue buff. And now he's just going to clear his camps like no problem. As we see on the bot side, Psionics and Digital Lotus pushing up Pneumatic and JL. And this is something that kind of spelled disaster for them last game. As they were pushed up so far, they got ganks numerous times. Frozen Knight, though, he's not in that Olaf, doesn't have that undertow to really rely on, but still can be a pretty decent ganker early on.
Especially around the level 6 mark. And for Simon Fraser, this is the heart of their engine. This is the beginning of their competition scaling with the bottom lane. If Pneumatic plus J can find some sort of advantage early with Frozen Knight support, they can hold out the game to the point where Goldjet becomes the unrelenting split push king that is Camille in the later stages of the game with the 2 to 3 items. But even so, if they're unable to find that, University of Ottawa are still going to have an incredibly strong mid-game teamfight scaling, so all eyes have to be down here on the bottom lane. And Frozen Knight can he find that same level of success he did game number 1 with the ganks?
Well, he's actually having trouble right now because while we were talking about that, Harry Sixpack and Digital Lotus actually went over and stole Frozen Knight's blue buff right in front of him. So Frozen Knight gonna have a very hard time in that jungle. Gonna have a lot of mana issues because he doesn't have that blue buff to rely on. Harry Sixpack now has a triple buff start as he goes down to his red side and picks up that one. But now that I say that, Frozen Knight though, he's in the top side. Jokin, he's going to be pushed up a little bit too far. There's no mana on the side of Golden Jet, but do they need it? He's not even going to flash. Golden Jet picks up that kill.
While Sejuani's been falling out of the meta, the combination of Sejuani plus Camille has kind of fallen by the wayside, but this is potentially the strongest ganking lane in top lane, period. Because not only is Camille so good at sticking people, but she has the melee auto attacks too.
Yeah, Psionics, though, while we talk about that, he's going to be knocked up. A lot of action happening simultaneously in this early going.
We're back.
Yeah, we are back. There's a teleport from Goldjet. Jokin also used his teleport flash this time around, thinking he has the health bar, but man, that is a big loss for Jokin.
Yeah, Jokin just TP'd back with the full HP bar, already blew the flash, and now he is stuck in the lane with absolutely nothing to get him through. He does have the refillable potion, so he's going to get a little bit of HP back for these next few minutes here, trying to keep him in the laning phase, but Goldjet still with that Arcane Comet is going to be an incredible force up here, making sure that he just has complete control of this top side of the map. Ottawa do have to respond towards the bottom side with that first Drake.
Nice pickup by Ottawa. See that Frozen Knight is camping up on the top side, do something on the bot side, and that is going to be the Drake going over to Ottawa, which is great. It's the Ocean Drake because Jokin, he needs that Ocean Drake so pivotally, so much right now, as he is getting poked down quite a bit by Goldjet. Frozen Knight, though, he has to go back, so no more camp for the moment. And that Ocean Drake going to kick in pretty soon. Goldjet needs to constantly push him, but in the mid lane, Open Backpack and Tickmith trading back and forth pretty evenly as well. As you see the aggression from Tickmith, it's going to be answered back by Open Backpack. So whoever starts the aggression first in the mid lane, it's going to be answered back. Now, with that being said, though, Tickmith does have heal, so he could potentially stay alive during an all-out trade in that mid lane.
Yeah, needs to be very careful going on through, but just all the lanes are now. Goldjet once again going very aggressive on the top side.
Yeah,
he has flash.
Ultimatum. He has flash, but not Hextech Ultimatum. Gonna give some respect over to Jokin. Just make sure he goes back and get a huge advantage as far as the CS count in that top side, as there's no teleport on Jokin.
Yeah, with a great freeze of the wave right here, it's near impossible for Jokin actually to benefit at all once he's so far behind the lane. So he's just going to take the back, take a little bit of a CS loss, and go right on back and hope to come back to this lane with just a little bit more in the tank. That being said, though, on the bottom portion of the map, you're starting to see the first backstart come in, especially with some advantages going over to Matic plus J. This is also a pretty good opportunity, as this is a late back from Digital Lotus, which means he's going to be slightly delayed now on that 6 spike. Matic J. They could have the level 6 advantage, plus Frozen Knight coming on over. If this is a great warding path coming out here, it's iconic!
Yeah, Psionic has to blow his flash and his heal with that surprise knockup by JL. And then the massive amount of damage coming out from Matic. Very nice play by them on the bot side of SFU, getting both the summoners out of Psionic.
It is important to note that Xayah was nerfed on this patch, mostly with her sustain in the lane, as Riot did say that it's a little bit too easy to make it through some of these matchups where you honestly should be taking pretty hard abuse before you get to your 2-item spike. That doesn't even matter. He still has the coordination between Rakan, between JL, and now they're just in complete control of this bottom lane. And I want to see where Frozen Knight's going to start coming into this.
Oh, Frozen Knight, he is going to actually not be in any of this gank because there's a gank on the top side by Harry Sixpack, but here comes Realm Warp as well. Goldjet, he has to flash out. Ragnarok popped. Are they going to be able to pick him up? They do. Now Tickmith, he might be left alone here, only for himself to fend with. Now Harry Sixpack, he has to back out because there's so much damage still coming out from Tickmith. The damage done. Kill gotten on the top side. Jokin able to pick up Goldjet in the end there. Open backpack roaming to the top side is going to go back to the mid, though. And
this is the idea behind the Cyber Fraser composition. It's not exclusively to get Goldjet ahead. It's splitting up the power points, because you have to be equally concerned about Goldjet scaling up into the later game, and Pneumatic and Jail, especially around level 6 mark, just completely taking over this game on their own. So when they go to address the top lane as Ottawa, you have now this movement from Cyber Fraser down to the bottom side. It's basically making sure no matter what the opponent does, you always have an optimal situation, you always have an optimal play on the map but they are actually unable to execute it on it in the bottom lane, which does give the slight advantage over to University of Ottawa.
University of Ottawa, they do have the power advantage, considering you have a Doran's Blade over a Doran's Shield at the moment, but other than that, it's pretty even on that bot side. And that's actually questionable considering the defensive stats that Doran's Shield gives you. But we do see both junglers roaming to that bot side. Might be seeing a collision course in this tri-brush. Frozen Knight, he's over a ward. He's not level 6, though. He is 2 levels down over Harry Sixpack. There's Ottawa knows that there's a flash of missing Harry Sixpack picking up that kill. You cannot do that when you're that low in levels.
Yeah, it only took 2 games and like 5 ganks later. Ottawa seems to finally be catching up to exactly what Frozen Knight's going up to. Constantly ganking the bottom lane. They finally set up a good defense for him. And that's not only the flash coming out means that a gank is going to be even harder for Frozen Knight to pull off now, but finally another kill to put him behind. He's already still feeling that domino effect of the early game of not getting Alicia to start off this match, and it's just getting worse and worse as this game goes on.
Frozen Knight having a very rough time on the Sejuani. And this is something, once again, we could have seen a Vi. Vi actually got buffed, and it is the adaptation to the patch notes that is really helping out. Hold on, as I talk about that one, Tickmith, he is going to be aggressed upon. Open backpack, he's taking these turret shots, though. Needs to be careful. There is Harry Sixpack coming in, picking up the kill overall. Meanwhile, the Call of the Forge God coming in just for a backup here.
They might dive.
Yeah, they look like
Hextech!
they are. There's the Hextech flash coming out from Digital Lotus, paying off huge, picking up the kill on the Frozen Knight, and that is going to be the first turret going over to Ottawa. I think that's the first competitive Hextech flash I had the pleasure of casting.
Right when Hextech Flash came out as a rune, that is the exact gank on Alistar that I absolutely love to do. Tilt the enemy mid laner by just repeatedly flashing over that wall, and he makes it work perfectly. Was kind of wondering what he was doing hanging out on the other side of that wall there for just a second, but that was perfectly executed on. And now Ottawa coming out to a very solid advantage. And keep in mind, they have the engage tools to keep this game going in the mid game, plus all the damage they could possibly need.
Jokin needs to be careful, though, because Goldjet, he is still doing very well on the side of SFU. Maybe the bright spot for that team right now. 2-1-0. The only one with kills thus far on that side. Maybe looking to have to split push this entire game. As we see Goldjet just waiting for Jokin to go back. But while he does that, that means that the University of Ottawa... Actually, that doesn't really mean the University of Ottawa can take up this Drake, but that does... That just show that University of Ottawa is going to take up this Drake. That's going to be the second Ocean Drake going over to Ottawa, while Frozen Knight and Tickmith looking to pick up the Rift Herald, wants to even up the turrets, possibly looking for the Rift Herald to give them that advantage.
Yeah, had the potential for going for an engage there on the bottom side. JL and Pneumatic both had the ultimates available with no flash available on Psychonic, but they elect against it. They don't know where Sixpack is, and that's still limiting the aggressive potential from the Simon Fraser bottom laners. They have just been unable to get anything done this match so far. Still, they have the engage potential, and they're going to be looking to keep that core wave clearing ability up, but now they might be on the receiving end of a 4-man rotation. JL, he's going to go right into a snake.
Oh yeah, backpack, open backpack is there. He does get out of the miasma, though. That means he's able to dash away. And that miasma is so pivotal whenever you're going to throw it onto JL, because he cannot dash away, and that is the biggest benefit of having a Recon, is being able to get in and get out. Open backpack can completely neutralize that as they rotate to the bot side, pick up that bot lane turret. Now 2 turrets up, making sure that if SFU are able to use this Rift Herald, they neutralize it and stay up in the objective count.
And this is where you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach if you're a Simon Fraser fan right now. Because there was a very clear early game plan that had to come out. The splitting of pressure between Goldjet and Pneumatic and JL, topside and bottom lane. Frozen Knight needed to pick something, but so far he's been unable to get anything done. Sure, he had a great gank at the early levels onto the top side, gave Goldjet something to work with, but that has all fallen off for now. And basically, your last hope, if you are the side of Simon Fraser, is that Goldjet is just going to be able to take over this late game, and even that, still quite a ways off.
Yeah, 12, and actually I'll say 13 minutes. Frozen Knight not faring too well. Goldjet, the only, like I said, the only bright spot. Open backpack doing fantastic along with Cynotics. Cynotics does have 2 assists only, but he's been able to stay alive, and that's something that helped him into the game in the game number 1, with so much pressure being put on the bot side by SFU. We may be seeing our first probably big team fight here as JL. He goes in. Actually, he's going to try to get out, only taunt up one member of SFU, or I'm sorry, of Ottawa, and that is going to be enough. Digital Lotus, he goes down. Who's going to pick it up? That is going to be Gold Jet. Not a bad move by SFU to give that.
That was so much committed for just the support. Digital Lotus popping the ultimate on Alistar. It's really hard to kill, but that means that the bot lane is going to have a huge pushing advantage. One open backpack. Going pretty darn aggressive under that mid tower.
Yeah, not going to get the
They're still going.
They're still going. Harry Sixpack, he's going to force a flash out of Tickmith. Ragnarok popped. I don't think Hextech Ultimatum is going to be the wise decision here either, but there is the Glacial Prison at the end of Ragnarok. He is not able to walk out of that one, but not enough damage to follow up. There's no Pneumatic. Goldjet did not want to go into a 2v3, but now JL is there. They're going to go in. Frozen Knight picking up open backpack. Feather Storm coming out from Pneumatic. Not going to be killing anybody, but Harry Sixpack, is he going to go down? He's going to stay alive, and now Frozen Knight, though, he is caught. Harry Sixpack does go down with Golden Jet able to flash in there, but he is knocked up and knocked back into the turret and ignited by Digital Lotus. Chaos overall, but it's still 3 down for Ottawa. Rift Herald popped, and now that is going to mean that they are going to be able to pick up a kill. I thought Harry Sixpack, Frozen Knight went down. That was not Frozen Knight. I think that was actually Jokin. My bad on that one. But either way, it is going to be the mid lane turret going down in favor of Simon Fraser. Meanwhile, look on the top side, though. Cyanotic able to push up that top lane turret, and that is all 3 outer turrets down in favor of Ottawa University of Ottawa.
That was a very crucial sequence of events that just happened in favor for Simon Fraser there, because that was the point at which they really start falling off. They need Goldjet to get either a massive influx of gold right there. They basically fall off for the rest of the match, and University of Ottawa, despite having a very clear objective in both games, and despite having a very solid early to mid game in both games as well, have constantly been plagued by these macro indecisive calls. Last game was around the Baron buff. The first few times they tried to bait it, almost threw over the game. In this game, it was that elongated dive over the mid lane for realistically very little reason. And Simon Fraser, being the more experienced of the squads, was very quickly able to turn it right on around and benefit from it. And now, this gives them just enough, maybe not to take the lead, but to stay competitive. And Goldjet, too, is going to be the largest benefactor from all of that.
Has the Stinger, has the Phage, has 2 of the 3 components for the Trinity Force. Looking for that Sheen. Actually, no, it does have the Sheen. Never mind, it actually has all 3 components of the Trinity Force. So just looking to round that one out. He can become that big split push monster and also chase down. Does not need to be diving so aggressively, though, like he did last time and gave himself a death there. But just going to try to... The action is going to sort of peter out a little bit as we see the Drake coming up in 1 minute. That is going to be prioritized by both teams. It's the 3rd Ocean Drake of the game. 3 out of 3 Drakes thus far have been the Ocean Drake. And that'll be huge for Ottawa. If they can pick up that 3rd Ocean Drake, that means these team fights are going to go so heavily for them if they can just rotate in and out and try to wear down SFU.
Yeah. Certainly gonna be great when you're looking against the split push potential of Goldjet, who wants to keep the game separate, who wants to avoid a lot of these elongated team fights, and just let him fight on the top side. So it's gonna help out so much for the Ottawa squad to just recuperate between those plays. Maybe if they make another macro indecisive call, they're gonna be not too bad off afterwards. But now you're seeing Simon Fraser start to try to put the pressure on University of Ottawa, who trying to stay in the 3-1-1 split push competition style, but here's Engage. TP.
Engage coming out from Digital Lotus. TP is coming out from both sides. Psionic does take out Tickmith, gets a double kill onto JL. Call the Forge God coming out. Isn't going to hit anybody. Actually misses everybody, but 5 strong for University of Ottawa in that bot side. Pneumatic has no protection. Frozen Knight not close to that, and that is going to be another objective picked up by Ottawa.
And that was the attempt from Simon Fraser to turn something around, but the problem was there's just too much power. And unlike that last play in the middle lane, University of Ottawa had a very clear objective going under that tower. They wanted to get those few kills and force the tower over. There was no elongated dive that gave the advantage back towards Simon Fraser, and there's still just not enough in the tank. You gotta just take whatever you can get, give up what you can't protect, and still just buy time for Goldjet. And fortunately, he's just not there yet.
He is not. 4-2-2 right now, has the timeout, has the Trinity Force, so he is inching his way there. Has not completed his full, his upgraded boots yet, though. Looking for those Merc Treads. He has the components, but has not upgraded them thus far. As it's not even 19 minutes yet. It seems like there's been a lot of happening in this game. 4 turrets to 1 right now in favor of Ottawa. 8 kills to 6, and 3 Drakes to 0. All Ocean Drakes for Ottawa. They have the objective game in their favor. They have the kill game, the KDA in their favor as well. And they are looking to keep that going as this Baron is going to be coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds. They are trying to establish as much dominance on this map to prioritize that Baron and take it away from SFU.
And unlike last match, University of Ottawa have an incredibly fast Baron clear. Not only does Kaylin ADC doing pretty darn well, but Cassiopeia is the most efficient Baron taker in the game of League of Legends. So you give them one quick moment, especially with Goldjet still trying to be that split pushing threat, they will take that Baron with no thoughts going either way. And Simon Fraser, they could find something back just by forcing the Goldjet split push, but this needs to be such a calculated match. One slip up of the macro game, one bad rotation, one bad teleport call, and boom, Simon Fraser, they're in the fight of their lives just to make it to Riot.
There's no teleport on Goldjet. That is going to be huge because Ottawa, they can win a 5v5 in these team fights. They can definitely win a 4v5 as they look to pressure the top lane turret as much as possible. 30 seconds for this Baron to come up. Goldjet, he is going back. He sees that the Baron is going to be up, has no teleport, cannot use his resources to split push this entire time. Has to make it a 5v5 somehow. Jokin on that bot side, no teleport. Also, this might be what SFU is looking for. You just try to off-balance the numbers here and get an advantage while they can. But Ottawa, they're backing up, not going to let it happen.
And Simon Fraser still certainly has the ability to come back into this game. It's looking pretty dire with the 4.5k gold disadvantage, but they still have the split push. That is what the Simon Fraser fans right now have to be praying to. But Frozen Knight, if he goes down, that could be an easy Baron.
Yeah, this has to get the flash out. Here comes Ace in the hole. Is it going to be enough? It is! Snipe from Psyonix, able to finish off Frozen Knight. That is Baron maybe going over to Ottawa.
Baron could be the last thing University of Ottawa needs to have the confidence to just stack 5 in one lane and push this game into a victory. University of Ottawa might have just signed their tickets to LA right here, right now. Certainly, 1 to 2 more matches still need to go over in their favor, but it's looking pretty good now. Rise ulti. This could be the last chance for Simon.
Tickmith, he gets cut off though. Digital Lotus is going to be zoning off everybody from SFU, and it's enough. Baron goes over to Ottawa. Flash coming out from Tickmith along with his heal. He has no summoners left. And Ottawa, clean Baron pickup. Gonna go back, spin their spoils, and get ready to shove this game out and just take this best of 3 to game 2, or take the game number 2 into best of 3, and just call it a day.
They're going to be very happy with this very early in the morning victory. Still do need to get the job done. Just because you have the Baron buff, just because you have the gold advantage, doesn't mean the game's over just yet. And Simon Fraser is one of those teams that have experience on the largest stage. They know what it takes to dig deep and really execute when it matters. And that is the X factor you can never truly factor in or just completely ignore from each of these matches. That being said, though, University of Ottawa, it's pretty straightforward what they need to get done. A little bit of lane swap, a little bit of pixie dust on top, and they're going to be finding themselves very happily on the back end of this game. But Goldjet, he's going in.
They're looking for Psionic here, and they might get
him.
He actually shuts him down. JL picking up that kill. This is the fight that Simon Fraser has been looking for. Initiated by Goldjet, the shining star on SFU right now. And he is going to be chasing down Harry Sixpack. Flashes over the wall from both sides. Goldjet, he is not going to relent, and he gets the kill. Harry Sixpack going down. That is 3 members of Ottawa down. But regardless, they still have 2 with Baron open Sixpack. One of them picks up a turret while those kills were taken by SFU.
But they're going to keep all of their inhibitor towers alive and untouched. This is so crucial. There were really 2 options for what Ottawa could have done there with that Baron buff. You either A, go for the 1-3-1, let the sidewave give them time to develop, and then basically say, all right, no matter what you do, we're going to take an inhibitor. Or B, stack up as 5 and just use their superior mid-game team fighting to just end this game right here and now. They chose the 1-3-1 without giving enough time for setting up of the vision game, track the rotations coming out for Simon Fraser, and they never got time to actually start up a fight that they wanted. And as such, Simon Fraser, they called them out on it. They might be losing the support as a result.
JL getting engaged upon Call of the Forge God, starting that one, open backpack, finishing that one. And that is not how you want to get caught out. You don't want to get caught out whatsoever, especially when it's on a knife's edge right now. And there's, again, still 2 members of Ottawa with Baron. And
they need this inhibitor.
They need the inhibitor indeed, that is for sure. They're going in onto the inhibitor turrets, going to try to zone out everybody away from it, and they pick it up. Can they pick up the inhibitor? SFU, they have nothing to engage with right now. Glacial Prison is down. Goldjet, he is off to the side. They're going to give up this inhibitor.
There's just nothing they can do. Jail just comes up right now, so even if they wanted to get a fight going, it'd be without their core engaged member. And when you're down in a spot like this, you have to pick the perfect fight if you want to make a comeback, because you don't get second chances at this point. One more fight going in favor for University of Ottawa, and all of a sudden Simon Fraser find themselves at a very uncomfortable 0-1 to start off this group stage. And I have to remind you, this is a very short-lived group stage. You don't get many second chances at all.
No, SFU will have to win every game from here on out if they lose this one and want to continue on to LA. Meanwhile, Ottawa, they're looking to give themselves a little bit of breathing room. Of course, they don't want to take advantage of that one. They just want to take the games all around, and they're looking very impressive. Once again, surprising me here as we get engaged underneath the turret here. X-Tech Ultimatum going to keep Jokin in, but he does not go down. He will eventually, though. Here
come the reinforcements.
Picking up Jokin. Reinforcements indeed from University of Ottawa. An open backpack, I should say. One of those engagements, one of those reinforcements. And that is what they need to pick up the return kill. Frozen Knight going down. Turret stays alive for University of Ottawa. Harry Sixpack, he is on the run, though. Ragnarok popped. It's not going to equip. No, that wasn't Ragnarok. That was
Either way, engage.
W. Yeah, here comes Tickmith. Nice.
Stop it!
By Digital Lotus stops the Rift, or the Realm Warp, I should say. And now Ottawa, they are on the offensive once again.
This could be it.
Down, double kill for Open.
It's only Gold Jet.
That is only Gold Jet indeed. You are right, and he's the only one left alive for SFU. Open inhibitor in the mid lane. Super minions are pushing.
Teleport available for Token. He can try to keep the minion alive once they run into the second tier tower. 20 seconds remaining for JL to come back up. The University of Ottawa could look for an end here, but they still need to be incredibly careful, because if they die right here, TP comes out really early though, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. It's still whether or not they can knock down these Nexus towers, and the Nexus itself.
Get one. They
6
are
seconds
going on
left.
to the second Nexus turret. Yeah, the death timers are still low. It's only 25 minutes that this is happening. They pick up the second Nexus turret. Are they going to try to finish this one out? Psionic, he gets locked down. He has to flash out.
Splitting pressure.
Nexus turret.
Nexus is low. They got it.
Going down. Ottawa, they pick up game number 2 in the best of 3. They go 1-0 in their first match of the round robin.
Yeah, and that is absolutely crucial in such a competitive group format stage. And I'm going to be honest, Simon Fraser at the beginning of this series was pegged as the favorites by a long shot in Ottawa, making a very resounding statement in why they should be making it all the way to those Riot Finals. And this sets us up in a very interesting situation, because the next matchup that we will be seeing at least one of these teams in will be Ottawa versus Maryland, who already won their match versus North Georgia in the round number 1. If Ottawa wins the next match as well, they are guaranteed at worst second place in this group, and that means a guaranteed trip to Riot.
Yeah, they're looking for that big win over Maryland after this already big win over SFU. Like you said, SFU look to be the favorites, but something is going on where they're not quite adapting like they should be. Ottawa showing up so impressive, coming in. I mean, they came in second place in the Eastern Conference, and now in the play-ins, doing very well, toppling one of the giants of the West Side, SFU. And once again, can't be emphasized, they dropped in the quarterfinals of the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. This is a big stride in their program coming in to make it this far in the Collegiate League of Legends tournament.
Exactly, and a very impressive game. Game 1, you can basically summarize up with Ottawa just out-compositioned the opposing team SFU on the current patch. They put their trust in the new RE pick. They had the ganks going consistently, and thankfully for them, their bot lane fed less than the enemy mid lane, and eventually they run away with the game at the end. And in game number 2, they just kept it simple. They got together the 5-man team fight. They let Simon Fraser outplay themselves in the macro game, and they walk away with the victory yet again. Where they're going to stack up against Maryland is still a big question mark, as we've yet to see any Big Ten team fight any region not named the Peach Belt Conference. And you can imagine how those have gone so far, but I think later on this week, for this weekend, we're going to learn quite a bit about how these guys actually do stack up and whether we'll be seeing Ottawa moving on to those national championships.
Yeah, like you said, Maryland versus Ottawa. We also do have Illinois versus Columbia College over in Group B. Again, we don't have the times completely stamped out for those, so you'll have to check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/CSLLOL and twitter.com/CStarLeague. We will be keeping you up. We are flexing our schedule as much as possible to accommodate the scheduling, the narrow time frames here. So definitely keep up with us on Twitter. You can also hit !casters in the chat, and we will definitely be posting about that as well. As that's going to be it for the morning for us. Actually, it's noontime over on the West Coast. It's obviously getting into the evening time, or at least afternoon over on the side of the East Coast. So my name is Joshua Feckus Quest here with Stephen Return Johnson. Congratulations to Ottawa taking that first step toward LA. But again, we're going to have more action-packed League of Legends coming up this weekend. So check out those Twitters. Stay tuned. And thank you for joining us today.